Variables, the golden rules. They're containers for the data. Number, strings, objects, what could be greater? Primitives, they're nice and neat. Strings and booleans, oh so sweet. Number, symbols, big ints too. And don't forget, undefined and null, it's true. Variables are the things we know. Values change, they come and go. Lots of constants, sometimes far, and make your code shine like a star. Old school, it's function scoped. It can mess you up if you're not stoked. Let's block scoped, keeps things tight. Use it when you need to change things right. Const is strong, it won't move. Immutable style, it's in the groove. Block scope too, it stays on track. Declare it right, there's no going back. Variables are the things we know. Values change, they come and go. Lots of constants, sometimes far, and make your code shine like a star. Old school, it's function scoped. It can mess you up if you're not stoked. Let's block scoped, keeps things tight. Use it when you need to change things right. Const is strong, it won't move. Immutable style, it's in the groove. Block scope too, it stays on track. Declare it right, there's no going back. Variables are the things we know. Values change, they come and go. Lots of constants, sometimes far, and make your code shine like a star. Refactor, wear that crown. Stick with us and you'll go far. A JavaScript pro or Sage a superstar. JavaScript Sage, come and learn with me. From novice to master, you'll be coding with glee. They come and go. Lots of constants, sometimes far, and make your code shine like a star. Variables are the things we know. Values change, they come and go. Lots of constants, sometimes far, and make your code shine like a star. Old school, it's function scoped. It can mess you up if you're not stoked. Let's block scoped, keeps things tight. Use it when you need to change things right. Const is strong, it won't move. Immutable style, it's in the groove. Block scope too, it stays on track. Declare it right, there's no going back.
Alright, back in Visual Studio, you can see that I'm still using the learn1.js file that I was using for the last lesson, and you can also still see the console.log with hello world in it that I used for the last lesson too. We're going to be talking about variables, and I need to talk about the fact that storage is either an object or a primitive. So right now we're going to stay with primitive variables. And the primitive variables can be categorized into several types: number, Boolean, string, undefined, null, symbol, and big int. Right now though, we're going to just stick with numbers, Booleans, and strings. So before we use a variable, we need to declare it. And I'm going to show you the old-fashioned syntax of doing that. Var, and say my value, and semicolon, okay? And if you want to put a value into it, some sort of a number, say, for instance, we say my value equals 35. You can also say my value equals Rick. That's a string. So the first one's a number, the second one's a string, or you can say my value equals true, which is a Boolean. Now notice, since it's a variable, you can change its value through time. And specifically, since we're using JavaScript, you can actually even change the type. We change from a number to a string to a Boolean. When we get to TypeScript, that won't be true at all. Now to show the value on the console, you can say console.log my value. Sometimes you just want to sort of output something in the console and verify that you know what the value is. Okay, true. So I'm going to make a little more room here so we have so we can talk about more things. So I'd like to say you could also create another variable, your value, and I'll say your value equals 78. So I just want to let you know that you can copy a value from one variable to another. So I can say my value equals your value. Now both of those variables are going to contain 78. You can also auto-initialize your variables, like if I say var their value, I can auto-initialize it with the value of 99. You can also declare variables, multiple variables on a single line, separated by commas, 1, 2, 3, 4. So there I've declared 4 variables all in the same line. And a lot of times, this is very convenient if you have related variables. Var width, height, x, y, that might be the coordinates and size of a rectangle of some sort. Or you might say var age, height, weight. So you can see how I'm going to group these things according to what they actually do. Now, we don't use var much anymore because there's a scoping issue that we would have to deal with. Instead, we prefer the let version of this variable declaration. And it might seem the same, but the let is going to give you a much more deterministic way of dealing with the scope, and we won't really deal with scope right now. But later on in this course, we will talk about scoping and go back and do a better job of explaining the difference between let and var. A lot of older code will use var, so you'll still see it quite a bit out there. I want to give you a caution. There's something you might see in really old code. You might see my value equals 55. Okay, now that looks like it's not correct because there's no declaration. But in order to be backwards compatible, JavaScript still lets you do this because in the early days this is the way it was done. The last variable type we're going to talk about in this section is a const. So I might say const the value, and I can do that, but that's going to give me an error. If I'm going to have a const, I need to give it some sort of a value. Test me. Otherwise, it can't be const. Now, if I go and I say the value and try to change its value equals another, when I go ahead and run this program, it will give me an error because you cannot change what's in that variable once you've set it. Okay. So that's the skinny on variables. Okay, so I'm going to get rid of that reassignment of the const value. If I try to run it, it will just give me an error. And add another couple of console.logs, and you can see that it's showing the values in those 2 variables.